Dear viewers and learning enthusiasts, welcome to the second day of the online course run by Ryan Publishers on personality development. I am your resource person, Livia PV. We'll be discussing today the factors and techniques that will help you to develop your personality. There are four main skills that I'll be discussing today. The first session deals with personal impact and communication skills. So in that, we start with personal impact. What is personal impact? It's nothing but the impression that you give when somebody meets you for the first time or at any time, and the vibrations, the energy that you communicate with them. As you can see, if you are filled with positivity, you will be sending positive vibrations, and if negative, obviously you won't be giving a good vibration to them. So I have a tiny video here. Let's see.
Hey, sweetie. Sorry I got home so late. I had to pick something up after work. It's such a beautiful day outside. You should exercise. Why don't you stop playing and open the present I got for you? Hello? Oh, yes, sir. I don't know why you didn't get the papers. Okay. Whoa! Cool! She's gotta be kidding me. Get lost.
So you could see here a small dog. I'm sorry that there was a small technical glitch in the video, the quality. But still, if you could watch it, you could see that there was a small puppy that was gifted by the mother to this boy. And the dog had some problem, that is, it didn't have one leg. So this boy actually hated the dog and he throws it away. But what happens? The dog doesn't stay there. It doesn't know what depression is. So it just starts playing whatever situation it is. He lights it up. So at the end of the story, I will tell you the end of the story for you. What happens is, when the boy stands up, you could see that the boy's leg is also not well and he is walking in crutches. So this is how a person with a personal impact lights up the whole room. Like, even if there is flaws or any kind of negativity, the person who lights up the room will have a positive personal impact. So what is personal impact? Personal impact is that factor which makes you effective. It will help you to influence others' thoughts and responses. It's actually a magical quality. If you possess a positive personal impact, you could really influence what others are thinking and how they respond. And it's all about your presence and credibility. Your presence itself will give a positive aura, and it builds up confidence and influence in you as well as others. It's the energy that you possess. The interpersonal and communication skills will also come in your personal impact. And it tells who you are inside and what you do outside. And it could initiate a person with a proper personal impact, a powerful personal impact, can initiate change and introduce new ideas if you are working in a professional scenario or in a group. You can reach to a new level of success if you are a person with a powerful positive impact. So all this is about, it makes you stand out of the crowd, stand up as a positive personality. How to radiate this personal impact? How can you achieve this amount of personal impact for making positive changes in society, in community where you live? You have to be trustworthy, you have to be loyal, and you have to be intact in all the situations. You have to be the same in different challenging situations. You should have proper knowledge in the field where you're working. If you do not have proper basic knowledge, then your impact is not loyal. Nobody can trust you. Nobody can be dependent on you. And the person with personal impact should lead change in a community, and always should lead with your core values. Every person has some core values on which they believe, they have their base on. So you should lead with those core values, and you should be able to build rapport with others easily. You will be able to if you are radiating personal impact. Do your homework. You should be ready with your strategies. So before going to a place, before starting your daily chores, you should do your homework. You should plan your strategies very well in advance. Then only you can radiate this kind of energy. Your communication should be open and positive, and you should be able to manage adversity and challenges in all scenarios. Now, Richard Wiseman, a British psychologist, he has given some tips for improving your personal charisma. Charisma is the energy that you, the vibrations you throw out, and how to create positive personal impact. The first one is you have to give importance to every person you meet. Nobody is big or nobody is small. You have to give equal kind of importance to every person you talk to, every person you meet daily. And your handshake should be strong and positive, and you should have something to say positive to every person. Handshake, we have seen yesterday how to have a proper handshake where the webs meet, and it should be strong, it should not be wet or weak. So that kind of proper handshake should be there. And always remember, if you already know that person or you are meeting for the first time also, you must have something positive to say about that person. Always remember that in mind. Some good compliment to give that person. And you should have your body posture as open. At least don't have your hands on your face, or it should not be crossed across your chest. So you should have an open body posture, so it's kind of welcoming and warm, and it sends out warmth and radiates energy to others. And you should be standing poised. It should not be very rigid and closed. You should stand poised. We have discussed in this body language section. And let the conversation be very natural. It should not be scripted, especially when you are speaking into a group or having a conference or some kind of a group discussion. Make sure you must have prepared it very well in advance, but still you should not read out that script. It should be natural. And try to remember, this is very positive and important. Remember names and use them. Okay, so this is because name is something that a person holds very dear to. So if you remember somebody's name, it will be very great, and your charm will increase double. You yourself can imagine you know somebody and you meet that person again, and if that person doesn't remember your name, sometimes it's kind of offensive because you will be watching that person in high regard. So name makes a very important position in the personal impact factor. Then you have to compliment sincerely others. I already mentioned that part, but there may be positives and negatives in different people, but manage to come up with some kind of a compliment, that to sincere compliment, to tell them. And notice and acknowledge others' strengths and achievements. Even if you are a good person, you are an achiever in your field, maybe in your studies or in your workplace, in your personal life. But always make sure that you acknowledge and notice and tell the strengths and the achievements to others. Always say good job if they've done something really good. And there are many ways to tell somebody you've done a good job, like tremendous, fantastic, super duper, out of sight, and you certainly did well today, something like that. And know how to use pauses for emphasis. So, like if I made a small pause here, if you are saying something really important, if you pause very slightly after that, your audience will think, what is that point about and why is she emphasizing it? So, know how to use pauses to give importance to something that you said. Look your best, be well groomed. Your cost of the cloth doesn't matter. Which brand it is from, it doesn't matter. Be well groomed and look your best. It gives out an energy to others. It's an encouragement and motivation for yourself as well as for others. And there are many personal grooming habits, like you know the basic grooming factors. From school time onwards, we know it, how to groom yourself, like your overall cleanliness, be clean, your hair, your nails, teeth, the dress you wear and the makeup you wear, it should be up to the mark. And smile. Remember to smile. Smile always goes a long way. It adds to positivity to your all over persona. And while speaking to others, this is a very important factor in personal impact. Sense the emotion in the speaker. With whom you are speaking, speech is just words. There are emotions behind that. You can see here, though this lady is very calm here, behind her the different things. The last one is screaming here. So sometimes people have different emotions at the back of the head while speaking to you. If you can sense and understand it very well, so that makes that to that person you will be interesting. And there should be positive body language, eye contact. And if you are talking to a group standing, just move around, don't stand in one place. Be genuinely interested and ask about their life and interest. This will help you to connect with the person you're talking to and increase your personal impact. Always be genuinely interested. It's not like in our everyday conversation, when you meet somebody, you just ask, how are you? Just mean it. It's not for the sake of asking how are you are asking that. You should be genuinely interested about their life. If they are coming up with something, you just inform them, develop the conversation. You listen to it, actively listen to it, and then give the feedback. This will make a great impact on your personality, and others will be interested in you. They'll remember you as an interesting personality. For example, just before the age of 20 or whatever age you are, till now, whomever you have met, there must be a handful of people whom you find very interesting. How is that? Just think about such persons in your life, just for 1 second. If somebody has come up in your mind whom you think interesting, just think what is interesting about them. A very important fact about that person will be that person will be interested in you to talk to you. That's why he or she seemed interesting to you. So we connect with them in that way by being genuinely interested. And this too adds up to your personal impact. So now let's go to the next section. So this video may seem really funny, but it tells you the importance of your communication. The rabbit, being a jolly good fellow, he has just gotten and told the bear and asked the bear, can you just take me off that list? So that simple is the thing. You communicate in the right manner, you get what you want. And that will be an additional feather to your personality. So communication skills is what we are going to talk about that. It's a two-way process, communication skill. And it's about sending as well as, why two-way? Sending as well as receiving messages. And this is how communication skills is a very important factor through which the personality gets molded. And this particular skill helps you to convey thoughts, your opinions, emotions, and any kind of important information. It's not only just the words that you speak, it's the knowledge transfer and relationship building also happens through the communication, right communication. And it presents information accurately and clearly. Now, these are all the multiple facets of communication skills, of having a proper communication skill. This is why the communication is a dynamic process, because it's always a two-way process. It always undergoes change. And through this process, we convey a thought or feeling to somebody else. You will have an information and you will encode it and you send it to another person. It may be your thoughts, it may be your feelings. How it is received depends on a set of events, stimuli that a person is exposed to. Now, you are just sending it. How it is received, it's as per the situation that the person is exposed to. And how you say what you say plays an important role in communication. A single thing can be said in multiple ways. So how you say it and what you say it and when you say it. I'll add one more, when you say it. The time of speaking it also matters. So it all plays important role in communication. So you can see the process. It's given out here for you. You will have a source. Now this is the raw information, raw data you have, and this message is going to the encoding stage, where you will transform it into a more meaningful information. And this message is being channeled through to the other person. How this channeling is, that we'll be seeing in depth in the coming out slides. It's through verbal communication or non-verbal communication or written communication. So all these things are channels. Now through this channel, this information getting passed to the next person, In the next person, the decoding happens. That person will hear it, will listen to it, will observe it, and then he or she decodes it into the basic information, and finally the meaning is received by the receiver. And the receiver always gives a feedback to it. Feedback is another part of communication, and through which the whole receiver, in the particular context, he or she will get the meaning of the message in a rightful manner. Now this is the communication process simplified for you. Excuse me. So now communication are of different kinds. There is basic communication. Commonly communication is divided into two, that is verbal and non-verbal. Here are some more fields that is covered. Basic goes into verbal, written and electronic, and there is non-verbal communication, there is special communication, and there are other forms of communication as well. Basic communication, as I said, verbal. Verbal is the speech which enables us to talk to each other, and written communication, it has been formed really before the verbal communication developed. About 5,000 years ago, like hieroglyphics, like the wall paintings, everything. So today the written communication is in the form of letters, notes and notices and everything. Electronic communication is there, that at present we use a lot through emails, websites, TV, social media, your phone, and speed is the main advantage of this kind of communication. Non-verbal, the subcategories are your body language, graphics, haptics, olfactic and musical. Now body language, already we have seen it, but still it reveals the thoughts and the personality of the communicator, the sender. And it should be always in synchronization with your thoughts, with your speech. Otherwise it will be contradictory. Because experts in the interview and all, they could actually observe whether your thoughts, your non-verbal cues are in synchronization, is parallel to your thoughts. If it's in adverse condition, then the interview will have a bad reflection. Then graphic communication is made of by using pictures and graphics. Usually doctors, X-rays, scan images, so all these things, doctors use it, engineers, designers and mathematicians usually use graphic communication. There are haptic communication. Haptics, it means the touch. You just get the example of a teacher giving a pat on the student's shoulder. So that is an haptic communication of very well done. So to comfort a patient, motivate a student, appreciate a colleague, we can use this kind of a communication. Olfactic communication, through the sense of smell. You know, all kinds of perfumes, deodorants are coming up today. The advertisements you could see everywhere. Why? You know, you should be, it's about your cleanliness, it's about the message you are giving others. It's about your own grooming. So, through sense of smell, when you communicate your positive energy, that's called as olfactic communication. Then there is musical communications. Some kind of like Vodafone, you can, if I say Vodafone, you can remember the music it is attached to. So many different companies and brands make use of the tunes to do this musical communication. And there are special kind of communication, that is Braille and sign language. Of course, Braille, you know, it's a tactile form of writing, used for the blind people always. Even on the notes, on the elevator switches, you could see Braille communication, which could be helping those who cannot see. There is sign language. Sign language is used by deaf and dumb people, and it is also used to educate people nowadays. In news channels, you can see there will be a section where through sign language they will be communicating the messages. And other forms of communication is also there, like International Morse Code and semaphore. This IMC is used by the ships, airlines, military, police, for secret service and all, to make communication which could not be heard by the outsiders. And semaphore is using the communication which uses flags, lights and movable arms. For example, before the railway stations make use of flags, and even in the ships and all, they used to, in the previous days, they used to hang flags as part of communication. Lights will be used in the for the ships. Again, the lights will be used. Movable arms when a crossroad is coming for the train, the railway track is closed with the movable arm. So like that, semaphore is used with all these symbols. These are the different kinds of communication that we are making use of. Now, how to improve this communication skill? There are some strategies, and above all strategies, some important things are given here. Develop your listening skills. Try to listen to the other person, that is verbally as well as non-verbally. You have to read that person. And be a patient listener. Don't stop, don't interfere when other person is speaking, and always give the right feedback. Improve your body language. You've already got the tips. You can still read on that and improve your body language in that manner. Have a open body language. Wear a smile always, a comforting smile, a kind smile, and maintain eye contact. It is said that you have to look into the eyes of the other till you identify the color of their eyes. So it is ideally speaking, it's less than 4 seconds. You cannot just stare into others' eyes more than 4 seconds. Otherwise, it will show some ulterior motive. And remember and respect your audience. Always remember that nobody is inferior to you, nobody is superior to you. So always respect your audience in that manner, and take responsibility of the conversation. Just don't be an idle participant in a conversation. Take the responsibility. If the conversation is going to break, you just start from where it stopped and make it more meaningful. And think before you speak. If you know that you're going to speak with somebody, make sure you have thought about it, you have practiced it in your head, and think before you speak. You can pause in between and just don't blabber anything for the sake of conversing. Always think. Create a psychological safety and provide feedback. If somebody is speaking something to you, give them a psychological safety, saying or giving non-verbal communication, that non-verbal signals that yes, I am listening to you, it's okay to talk to me. So give that kind of a psychological safety, and use your emotional intelligence. As we already seen, see what is behind their head while they are speaking. Try to sense their emotions, and have clarity and brevity. Do not beat around the bush. Just talk straight to the points and let it be brief. Practice cooperative conversation, not competition. You are not there going to involve in a conversation for a competitive spirit. Okay, you cooperate with the conversation. When other person want to speak, you can say, you can stop whatever you're speaking and you can allow them to speak. Yes, just say. So always have the cooperative feeling in a conversation. Provide feedback or summarize. This makes the other speaker understand that, okay, you are listening properly. Like if they are telling you some 2-3 points together, after a brief pause, you can just summarize it and say, okay, now you are saying this and that, isn't it? So that will give them the assurance that, okay, I can speak to this person and he or she has good communication skill. And consider the culture difference. Nowadays, especially this pandemic situation has made the whole world into a single unit. So if you are speaking with another person, there will be cultural difference, there will be pronunciation differences, everything. A person in Thailand will be speaking in a different influence with a different influence in English. So understand that, understand their culture, maybe the different states in India. And do not just make fun of or just ignore whatever they are speaking. Try to listen to it genuinely and make a genuine conversation always. So just for your knowledge that you have 30 muscles in your face to help you smile or frown, And to frown, it takes 17 muscles. And to smile, it takes 17 muscles, and to frown, it takes 43 muscles. So which is easy? So smile every time you see someone. You don't lose anything through that. And the strongest muscle in your body is your tongue. Use it effectively. It takes the interaction of 72 different muscles to produce human speech. So communication skill is such a skill that encompasses all these things. So why not we use it positively? So always exercise on your communication skill. It will mold your personality by being a listener, by being a good sender of messages, by being a good communicator. So let's move on to the next session of today's discussion, that is emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills.
When we hear the word emotion, most of us think of love, hate, happiness, or fear. Those strong feelings we experience throughout life. Our emotions are the driving force behind many of our behaviors, helpful and unhelpful. Just where do our emotions come from? Our brain is wired to look for threats or rewards. If one is detected, the feeling region of the brain alerts us through the release of chemical messages. Emotions are the effect of these chemical messages traveling from our brain through the body. When our brain detects a potential threat, our brain releases the stress hormones adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare us for a fight or flight response. When we detect or experience something rewarding, such as someone doing something nice for you, our brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, or serotonin. These are the chemicals that make us feel good and motivate us to continue on the task or behavior. In these instances, the feeling region of the brain kicks in before the thinking part. Sometimes the reactions of the feeling brain are so strong that it dominates our behaviors, and we're unable to think rationally in the moment. Our emotions hijack our brain. While many of our emotional responses happen subconsciously, our thinking can influence our emotions, and sometimes this can be unhelpful. Just thinking about something threatening can trigger an emotional response. This is where we can manage our emotions with conscious thinking. Our emotions play a powerful role in the way we experience the world. Understanding and regulating our emotions through our thoughts and behaviors can help us take greater control of our brain and achieve our goals.
So this video says about the importance of emotions and how it works. So intellect accounts for only 20% of success in life, and emotional intelligence, social class, and luck make up the rest. So in that too, emotional intelligence has a prominent role to play. Why this is? Because many researchers, and especially this one, research at Yale in early 1990s, was conclusive that emotional quotient, EQ, is a major indicator of achievement, and it can explain why two people with the same wisdom or same intelligence can have different kinds of levels of success in their personal lives as well as professional life. Aristotle, a very famous Greek philosopher and psychologist, he has said that anybody can become angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, and at the right time, and for the right purpose, and in that right way, that is not within everybody's power and is not easy. Now, this is the major example of being emotionally intelligent. Emotionally intelligent tells you how to react, when to react, why to react, and to whom to react or respond. Now, in the video also they have explained it, but I am just simplifying it for you. This is your brain, and this is the place where all your actions enters your brain, the spinal cord. Okay, so when you see something, when you feel something, that all comes through this, and this is where the limbic system is where you feel. the rational thinking section is somewhere above this. So what happens is, whenever something enters, some message enters your body and your brain, you first feel it. Only after feeling it, you go to the thinking part here. So EQ is affected by your ability to form and keep well-traveled connections here. So this is what happens when you get angry. You actually hijack your brain, kidnap your brain. The emotions are there only, and your thinking comes after that. So whenever you get angry, what you can do is try to take it up from here to here. So that what happens, you can think about the situation and then you can react. But usually what all of us do, including me, that you feel first and you react and respond. So that will be absolutely on your emotional level. So when you are emotionally intelligent, you will think about it and you will take all these things to this rational thinking space. So the more we think about what we are feeling, when we think about what we feel and do something productive with that feeling, the more developed this pathway becomes. The more traffic in both directions are better. You will be an emotionally balanced human being. So what is this emotional intelligence once again? Now this term was, the concept was there from the early periods, like Aristotle, we have already seen, like emotions, feelings, everything was dealt there. But majorly in 1990s, Peter Salovey and John Mayer has introduced this term as emotional intelligence. But it was developed by Daniel Goleman, and he has written a book over it, and he has explained even the factors, the so-called factors or elements of emotional intelligence. Now this emotional intelligence is the base for your physical, mental health, social intelligence and relationships. So this is a very important factor because it gives you happiness and success in your personal as well as professional life. Now this is what I was talking about, the elements of emotional intelligence. Now these elements are based on the book by Daniel Goleman on working with emotional intelligence. Now there are personal skills as well as social skills or competencies, you can call them. What are personal skills is about how we manage ourselves as a human being, and social skills are about how we handle relationship with others. Now the elements are also compartmentalized according to the personal skill and social skill. Personal skill, you have self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation. And in social skills, you have empathy and other social skills. Let's see what self-awareness is. Self-awareness is always about your emotional awareness. What emotions are you feeling? Are you aware of it? And accurate self-assessment. You are able to assess yourself. If I am feeling pain or I am feeling depressed or sad, I am able to accurately assess it. So that is self-awareness. And self-confidence. Self-regulation is how you manage these emotions that you are aware of. That is self-control. If you are angry, how to stop yourself from exploding. Trustworthiness, conscientiousness, adaptability and innovation. And motivation is the third personal skill in emotional intelligence. That is the achievement drive to achieve something, the commitment you have towards your work, towards your personal relationships, and the initiative you take, and positive optimism to look at the better side, of bright side of everything. Social skills have empathy and social skills. Different social skills are there in the competency. How we handle relationship with others. What is empathy? Empathy is far more different from sympathy. Sympathy is if you feel sad about somebody's suffering. That is sympathy. Okay, I'm sad. What is empathy is you actually feel what the other person is feeling. You put yourself in that situation. So you can come up with solutions for that person also. So empathy is all about understanding others, developing others. As you said, you can understand others, so you can just uplift them from their personal trauma. Service orientation, you are being kind, you can serve others. Leveraging diversity and political awareness, all this is empathy. And there are social skills like influence, the personal impact we have talked about come under this. Your communication skill, conflict management, leadership skill, you being the change catalyst, you cause change, positive change, that is also your social skill under emotional intelligence. Building bonds between people, between the organizations, collaboration, cooperation, and team capabilities to work within a team. All these things are elements of emotional intelligence, and these are being tabularized by Daniel Goleman in his book Working with Emotional Intelligence. So if you are a person with high EQ, then you will have all these skills in the right measurement. Now, emotional intelligence is the ability, so it's in the simple term it's given to you, ability to understand what emotions are telling you and how other people are affected and vice versa. Now, emotional intelligence assessments, you can assess for yourself. Self-realization can be there, but in pen paper test you can understand how much emotional intelligence you have through many online tests are there. Then some EQ tests suggested by Harvard Extension School blog, I've given it here for just for your information. So emotional intelligence always helps us to recognize, understand and manage our emotions as well as others' emotions. That's about emotional intelligence. Now, there are 4 major things based on the elements, 4 major skills you have to own. That is self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness and social skills. There are some that is taken from the elements of emotional intelligence, but these are the 4 major things you should be developing to have a higher amount of emotional intelligence inside you. Self-awareness is be aware of about own emotions and what triggers behaviors. So there will be some kind of behaviors that is coming out from you. So you should know what are the triggers, what makes it start, what makes it tick, what behavior makes it tick. So what you can do to improve the self-awareness is whenever you feel an emotion, you name it and you manage the response. If somebody is laughing loudly and you cannot digest that and you get irritated, well, you name it that I get irritated when somebody is laughing very loudly. Now, as an emotionally intelligent person, what you can do is you can think of ways to manage the response that you make. Do I have to shout at that person? Do I have to tell them politely or some other way? So how to manage the response? You can practice it by naming it. Now next is self-regulation, like managing our emotions. So how you can do is have a positive outlook always and adapt to the situations. Just do not panic. Just understand the situation, ground yourself and adapt to the situation. Ask for the feedback if you are comfortable about your emotional intelligence or about the way you react to certain situations. You can ask the people around you only if you are comfortable, but if you are not developed your emotional intelligence, it could make more chaos. So that's why I'm telling you, only if you're comfortable, you can ask for others' feedback. Like how do I cope up with some situations. Now next one is social awareness. How you can improve is observe and understand others' emotions. You will be speaking with others, you will be dealing others, but this time, the next time you talk with them, try to observe what are their emotions, what do they feel inside, not externally but internally, how do they feel, and try to understand their emotions. Develop and feel empathy. Now how you can do is through body languages, non-verbal communication, verbal communication, their emotional well-being, their situations, everything will help them. So read. To understand all these things, you can read much and you can take inputs from others, the mentors, the personality development resource persons. You can just talk to them and understand. Now, social skills are your charisma, your problem solving, teamwork. Now, charisma, personal impact, we've already discussed how you can improve your personal impact, and how to solve problems. Again, you can get inputs from other resources also. And teamwork, we will be discussing tomorrow in group dynamics also, the points for that. So always have an open mind to understand your emotions and change it if it's needed, and to adapt to the situations. So to improve your emotions, emotional intelligence, what all things you can do? You can name and label the emotions as and when it comes. You really want to study it and observe your emotions and try not to fix it. If you are becoming very sad, just don't try to fix it and stop you from crying. Just observe it, because fixing it can make it into take a negative turn of events. So just watch it and identify, differentiate and discuss your emotions. Now discussing, it's completely on you whether to discuss it or not. At least identify and try to differentiate your emotions. Sometimes what happens, your self-defense mechanisms comes into play, and if you are angry at somebody else, you will shout at somebody else. So in that manner, if you realize where your emotions have gone bad, you will help yourself from hurting another person for the hurt you have received from somewhere else. So this is very important of differentiating this emotion. Try to feel the emotions physically. When you are getting scared, if you are afraid of something, try to feel what does it do to your physical body, like your heartbeat goes up, you will sweat, you may shiver. So try to feel it physically, so that will reduce the aftermath of this emotion. And recognize this pattern. For long-term emotional intelligence, you should understand this to improve your emotional outbursts. Recognize the patterns, the recurring patterns. Like every time when somebody is saying this particular thing, it triggers anger in me. So if you understand, identify that pattern, you will help yourself to respond, choose a different response to that particular trigger. And there are no bad emotions as such, so do not suppress them or fight them. But of course, try to stop them from being explosive, but don't suppress or fight any light emotions that you feel. Remind yourself that emotions are just raw data, and you can just see it in a new perspective, new outlook, and you can make better decisions. So understand that it's just a data, it's nothing personal. So just split them from your personality and try to see them as a different entity. So it will help you to see it in a different perspective, different viewpoint, and you can make better decisions. Write down, write down, write down. This is all the 3 days I'll be repeating the same thing. Like, write down your feelings. Keep a journal. This is very important for your personality development. Write down your feelings, write down your achievements. So writing down your feelings will understand which feeling triggers what result. And notice the build-up emotions. Now this is very important. What happens over a period of time, over a period of say 20 days, you will, inside you, the emotions will build up. Small emotions will build up. And the 20th day, it's going to explode like nobody can control it. So build up emotions are very important, and notice them, and before it becomes makes a great chaos, you can control it before that. So writing down these feelings will help you to realize this build up emotions, build up energy, and you can stop yourself from having a bad experience, bad explosion, outbreak. So now the last one of today's session is the interpersonal skills. From the name itself, you can say interpersonal. When you deal with others, what skills will come into your use? It is also known as micro skills because there are small, tiny, different kinds of thousands of skills that comes into play when it comes to your interpersonal communication. So it defines how we interact with others. As I said, it's a broader spectrum and it includes your communication skills also. And it relies on when you interact, you can rely on it when you interact and communicate with others. And it appears in the scenarios where communication and cooperation is very essential. And interpersonal skills examples, if you see, self-confidence, collaboration and positivity, all these are examples. As I said, micro skills, in the picture itself we can see teamwork comes, responsibility, motivation, leadership, caring, active listening and collaboration, positivity. So there are tiny multiple skills that will come under interpersonal skills. Now, interpersonal skills are necessary for relating and working with others. It will include your verbal, non-verbal communication, your listening, giving and receiving feedback. Everything will come under that. Now, Howard Gardner, interpersonal intelligence is the main factor in that skill. Now, Howard Gardner is one psychologist who has told about different kinds of intelligence. He said that there are no one intelligence in the person. There are 7 to 8 kinds of intelligences in a human being. So, as per that, we our personal development comes up and we communicate. So, interpersonal intelligence comes next to intrapersonal intelligence. And it's the ability to understand and work effectively with others. That's what Howard Gardner has said about interpersonal intelligence. Now, being able to understand and work with others in teams or groups is another important aspect of interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills comes into play in different scenarios, like in our personal lives, how we interact with others, and how we improve and review our interpersonal effectiveness. So your personal relations will improve. And on the professional front also, good communication, interpersonal skills are very much important, because some employers see whether their employees have good interpersonal skills, even in the interview stage itself. So it's very important. In schools and colleges, because wherever you work in a group, your interpersonal skills comes into play, and it's really important. These are skills that can be learned, thereby improving an individual's performance, resilience and overall emotional literacy. Now, Goleman has said this. What is so important about personality development, personal impact, your confidence, your communication skill, your interpersonal skill is, it can be learned. If you see that it's very low in you, you can always learn and you can improve it. And you can improve your performance, improve yourself as a person, as an individual. Working in groups provides opportunities. Why it's important? Interpersonal skills is it's very important. It gives you opportunity to share ideas with others, hear others' viewpoints and learn from their experience, benefit from that, and you can learn expertise from others, and you can receive help and support vice versa also. So because of all this, interpersonal skills are always important and there is a dire need to improve it. Now, we will be seeing some 3 or 4 interpersonal skills in a stretch, like self-confidence. Self-confidence is, like a muscle, the picture says. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So, self-confidence is about how you face varying situations in the different fields of your life. It's your perspective, your opinions. If you are self-confident enough, and you are presenting something, your viewpoint, your opinions will be given priority by others. So that is a positive about self-confidence. And it's not that you just need it in your professional life or just need it in your school life. Self-confidence is such a skill, and all the interpersonal skills, you need it at all stages or positions in your personal as well as professional fields. The next interpersonal skill is work ethic. If you are a professional, your work ethic matters a lot. The professionalism you have, the commitment, decision making, the knowledge you have, the skills, behavior, everything adds up to your professionalism. The respect, the mutual respect you have with each other comes under work ethic. The dependability, what is dependability? At any time, see this image. Whenever an adversity comes, whenever a situation comes, you will be there to protect the organization and your team. That is the dependability that others will have in you. You are reliable, you are safe to approach, you are available. So all these things come under work ethic. Another important interpersonal skill while working in a group especially is collaboration. Collaboration is all about trust, support, and sharing the success, teamwork. So it's a cooperation and respect with each other for producing something really productive, and the enthusiasm and positive attitude always goes with this particular skill, interpersonal skill, collaboration. So it's very important. Another important skill, interpersonal skill, is etiquette. The etiquette is about the way you stand. You have to watch the way you stand, make eye contact, watch others while they are speaking, have a genuine smile, and be aware of the dress code and follow it. And most importantly, be punctual. Punctuality is the politeness of kings. So be royal and be punctual all the time. So etiquette, the ABCs of etiquette is said to be appearance, behavior, and communication. So try to improve all these nuances so that it will improve your interpersonal skill as a whole. And you have to be thoughtful about the ways your interactions could improve. This is the one way you could improve: watching yourself. Whenever you speak, whenever you deal with others, whenever you are making use of your interpersonal skills, see, observe where you can improve yourself, where you are falling short of, what more you can add to it, why that particular conversation did not go well or why it did went well. So all these things, by observing it, being thoughtful about it, where you could improve, you can enhance your interpersonal skill. Another important thing is observe other positive interpersonal interactions. Now, when you see a successful person, when you feel that okay, this person has something special about him or her, you just watch them, observe them, how they are dealing others, how they are communicating with others, how they are using their interpersonal skills, and what all skills come to the forefront while they are speaking or communicating with others. So all these things you can take a note of and inside your brain, and you can write it down so that the same skills can be produced and processed, improved inside you. Seek mentorship. You can always ask that particular person whom you feel successful or an achiever, what is their success mantra. So you can seek mentorship from them, you can get trained under them, or you can ask for tips where you can do such things. Now again, some more points to improve your interpersonal skills. You should have a congruence among what you think, you say, and you do. So that is the integrity you have. That's called as a personal integrity. Whatever you say and whatever you think, whatever you do should go hand in hand. It should have a congruence, coherence. So always watch that, and you be willing to listen. It's not like, okay, I'm developing, I'm reading, I'm doing whatever positive things I can, so I don't have to listen to anybody. It's a wrong thing. Always open your ears. That's why God has given you 2 ears and 1 tongue, because listen more carefully in more amount and speak less in a witty way or wise way. So there should be a willingness to listen, and some kind of level of openness should be there to understand, to comprehend what others are trying to say, and there should be respect for the other person. Always remember this in any stage of your life. So again, some more interpersonal skills are given here, like verbal, non-verbal, we have touched that. Listening skills. Negotiation is another important skill. You can read on that. The problem solving, decision making, assertiveness. So almost in these 3 days, we'll be touching all these interpersonal skills in one way or the other. And these are the main, in the last class also, I told you the books that I personally tell you. So there was a typo error in these last 2 books. So the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and the rest you can read. And these are the references I've used for this particular session. I hope it has been a useful session. Thank you. Happy learning with Ryan Publishers, publishing your passion.